So, it all started on October 25th, 2016. I was outside playing basketball with a ton of my friends from the neighborhood, and I was going to save the ball from going out of bounds towards the bottom of my driveway. And towards the bottom of my driveway, it's uneven between my driveway and the front yard. And so, when I went to save the ball, my foot fell in, and it rolled really, really, really badly. I fell to the ground, and I tried to convince myself that I wasn't hurt. I was like, you're not hurt, you can't be hurt again, there's no way. But I knew deep down that something was wrong because I felt it pop, and I was just in a lot of pain. So I proceeded to jump my way inside, and after I did that, I was very skeptical and nervous to go tell my mom that I got hurt again because I had broken my back at that point, broken my thumb. I'd gotten hurt way too many times, and I did not want to go through it again. So after about 10 minutes of sitting in the living room, I finally gathered the courage and went upstairs and told my mom, and I completely just broke down, started to cry, and it just was not, I could not go through another injury again. So my mom then proceeded to take me to the ER, and we went to the ER, and I got x-rays done. And now I was pretty certain that I had broken my foot, but the x-rays came back negative, which we were pretty surprised about. But they said that something didn't look right in there. They didn't say like what it was. They just said something doesn't look right. So that had my mom and I pretty skeptical and nervous. And so they gave me a walking boot, and I could barely walk in it. Like I pretty much dragged my foot whenever I took a step with that thing on. It was very bulky, and I was just in a lot of pain, and it was very hard to walk in that. So then about 2 weeks, or maybe a week later, the pain didn't go away, and it was still very swollen, so my mom ordered a CT scan from my doctor, and about maybe another week later, we got results back that I had broken my cuboid and did a lot of tendon and ligament damage. So after this, we were referred to an orthopedic doctor. I'm not going to say his name, but I then got casted, and they wanted me to have my foot at a 90-degree angle so that it was kind of like my leg and then my foot, but it was more like this. We don't know if they mess up, but they didn't really have my foot in the right position. So I wore the cast, and I actually rode a scooter around school and got access to the elevators, which was pretty cool. But literally the night before I started 25 Days of Vlogs Year 2, I was trying to go down the stairs after recording my intro for it, and my crutch missed a stair, and I completely went airborne over the staircase and fell like pretty high off the ground with a broken foot and a cast on. I'd cut my left foot's open, and I honestly thought I needed stitches, but didn't. But anyway, I was freaking out, I was crying, I was thinking like, holy crap, you just broke it again, blah blah blah, so I was in a lot of pain. So my dad took me to the same hospital where they missed my x-ray, and take it, these people have missed my back and my foot now already. But we went back. So we went back, and they said that it came back negative besides the fracture that I already had. They said that there was no other fractures and you're fine. So we're like, okay, that's good. But I had to go back to my orthopedic doctor again and get recasted. So I had to wear a cast initially for about 6 months maybe, but then needed to wear one for another 3, just in case something did go on down there. Now, which sucked about this, and this kind of ruined my cruise a little bit, but luckily I got it taken off the day we left for Florida to go on our cruise. But I remember when they took it off, they told me to use a walking boot, and normally when I had a fracture before, I'd be like, hey, I feel pretty good. But I remember trying to put pressure on my foot, and it was like flames and needles just piercing through my ankle and my foot. It was like unbearable. So I used crutches. I literally couldn't walk at all. I could put maybe like a tiny bit of pressure on it, but not without feeling any sort of pain. Like I just remember going in the airport trying to get to our docking place. I can't think of what it's called, and literally it took us like an extra 10 minutes because I could barely get there. It was insane, and it was terrible at the same time. So on the cruise, I had to use crutches. I literally couldn't walk with a walking boot. I was in that much pain, and the only real time I felt relief on that cruise was in the ocean because of the buoyancy and just how it kind of just lets you float there, salt water. But after the cruise, we got back, and I still wasn't feeling like any better whatsoever. So about a month or a month and a half later, we went back to my orthopedic doctor, and we told him that I wasn't feeling any better. I still had ton of discoloration. My foot was still pretty swollen, and that I still had a ton of pain. And then he proceeded to schedule an MRI. So I had an MRI done, and it came back. There was no fractures. Everything healed correctly, which was weird, to say the least. So he diagnosed me with CRPS. Now, if you don't know what CRPS is, it's a nerve condition that basically you're in the least complicated way of explaining it, your bones are completely healed. You're completely healed, but your nerves are messed up, and they think that you're still that you still have a fracture, but you really don't. And so they constantly send pain signals to that affected area, and it's bad. People often refer to CRPS as a living hell. It's like hell's disease. It's just constantly feel like you're on fire, and it's one of the most painful conditions / diseases. The worst part about CRPS is there's no cure. You can only be sent into remission, and I'll get to that part later on. But it's been hard. It's definitely been hard. So initially, my mom and I didn't really believe this doctor. We were just kind of like, oh, that's just something that he gave me just to kind of say, okay, be on your way. But the more that my mom looked into it and read into it, she realized that I had a lot of the symptoms that goes along with CRPS. The symptoms including random hair growth on my foot, discoloration, especially when I'm exposed to heat. Like if I'm outside and I'm not wearing shoes, my right foot turns like a blood red color, like kind of a red, kind of like this. It turns, and it also a ton of pain as well. And so with that, I had to take the year off of baseball, and baseball is my favorite sport, and I was devastated to not be able to play because this would have been my first year playing for the high school, and I couldn't. So after making this decision not to play baseball, we saw another orthopedic doctor, and he tried to give me custom orthotics. And while we were there, one of the many MRIs that I had, it might have been the second one, because I actually did get a second MRI after the first one. After that MRI, he said that I broke my toe when I must have fallen down the stairs. Now, I was very surprised about this. My mom was very surprised about this. It was just, I broke my toe, and they missed it again. So that was the third time that they had missed a fracture that I had. And so with this, like I said, he made me some custom orthotics, and those helped, I guess, but they were also pretty annoying at the same time. And so we initially decided to go to another route and see another doctor. Now, this guy actually specialized in sports injuries. I can't remember what his exact profession is, but he said that the best thing to do probably is pain management. Now, my mom never wanted to go the pain management course because she just didn't want me to be on crazy, intense medicines. But at this point, she would have done anything, and so we went that route. In probably August, September, October, those 3 months, I saw a pain management specialist, and she put me on an antidepressant, which I wasn't depressed, but she apparently was supposed to help with CRPS, but it didn't really do much for me. I didn't really feel any sign of relief or anything like that. So with that, she just kind of said, oh, you have CRPS, but you're kind of at that stage where we can't really treat you because you're a pretty active kid, and we don't want to go a very intense route without having you having a very high case of CRPS, a very intense case. I guess in a sense I did get very lucky though. I don't have a very intense case of CRPS, but it's definitely there. So after this, we kind of just let everything go. We didn't really see any doctors. We just kind of said, all right, let's see what we can do. And so I started to train with one of my trainers, and it was very hard to do all that training because it wore my foot down so much and it just hurt so badly. But I wanted to play baseball that summer. I was determined to play baseball that summer. And when tryouts came around in February of this year, I ended up making the baseball team for my high school. And when I made the team, this year I probably had one of my best years of baseball that I've ever had. I batted around 360, led the team in RBIs and hits, and pitched very well. I also had a very good year with my summer team, around the same stats, and I thank the Lord so much for giving me the opportunity to play baseball and do what I love again. I also participated in my first collegiate showcase, which was amazing. It was awesome. It was an awesome experience. I got to pitch, hit. I got to do everything that I missed so much, and I can't thank the Lord enough. So if you have CRPS, don't be afraid to keep going. Don't wear yourself down. Don't tell yourself you can't do anything. You can do anything if you put your mind to it and you put your trust in God. He will guide you through anything. I honestly thought I'd never be able to play sports again, but here I am. Some sort of miracle, I guess. But you're a fighter. You've gone through things that people can't even fathom. You've gone through pain that people can't even fathom. And you've gone through it as such a champion and with such pride. And if you keep a good attitude and you keep motivating yourself to progress instead of recede, then you'll get to where you want to be. Never give up, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.